And with that down, let's move on to our next topic of the day, shall we? This comes to us from Variety. Alfred Molina has now come out and discussed a little bit of his role in the new Spider-Man No Way Home film. And he is quoted as saying, "When we were shooting it, we were all under orders not to talk about it because it was supposed to be some great big secret. But it's all over the internet. I actually described myself as the worst kept secret in Hollywood. Obviously, Marvel Studios wants to keep, the return of Doc Ock, obviously who Alfred Molina played in the early 2000s movie Spider-Man 2, and did a great job, by the way. Marvel Studios wants to keep that secret under wraps, and for good reason. I understand that. But it's already been confirmed that we're going to be getting, Alfred Molina was already confirmed previously, and we're going to be getting, Jamie Foxx's Electro. We're going to probably be getting Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man back in this film as well, along with a bunch of other characters probably returning from the OG Spider-Man films before the MCU got the Homecoming series in the works here. So it sounds like it's going to be a bit of a multiverse, into the Spider-Verse kind of thing, and I think it could be a lot of fun. But this is the first time that, Alfred Molina has actually spoken about the role, and he goes on to say that he was pretty much, summing up, he was kind of hesitant to do it because obviously he felt that 17 years ago he had more of a more physicality to him where he could actually pull off the role. But the director John Watts, he goes on to say, looked at him and just said, "Did you see what we did to Robert Downey Jr. and Sam Jackson? I mean, in Captain America: Civil War, and they de-aged Robert Downey Jr. They de-aged Samuel L. Jackson and Captain Marvel." So he's basically said what they're going to be doing with Alfred Molina's Doc Ock is de-aging him. And supposedly the report from Variety also goes on to state that Alfred Molina's Doc Ock's character will pick up immediately after Spider-Man, where it left off, Spider-Man 2. At the last time we saw him, he was sinking to the bottom of the lake or the river, I believe, after Spider-Man had persuaded him to stop his machine from destroying the city. And of course, Doc Ock, ripped it down and, sunk with it. And we all were led to believe that he died at that point. And he very well could have in that universe. But since the multiverse is going to become a thing in the new MCU, moving forward, it stands to reason that you can pull him from this timeline right at this point and it make narrative sense. So it sounds like it's going to pick up right where Spider-Man 2 left off for Doc Ock. What that means for Jamie Foxx's Electro from The Amazing Spider-Man 2 could be something similar. We could possibly get the Green Goblin. We could get Sandman with Thomas Hayden Church. I'd love that. Green Goblin, I would love to see Willem Dafoe back to play him. I'm not sure we're going to get the Lizard from The Amazing Spider-Man. And I highly doubt we're going to get Dane DeHaan's Green Goblin as well, or Hobgoblin, or whatever you want to call it. But you take those previous characters from the Spider-Man films and you team them up with a possible Mysterio from Spider-Man Far From Home. Many people believe he didn't actually die in that film too, and he was creating an illusion to make it look like he died as well. There's always that possibility, or his consciousness could be uploaded, into a computer program or something or whatnot, because we saw at the end of that film his buddy that he was working with was downloading material, and we don't know what they're going to do with that at the end of that film. And of course, in Spider-Man Homecoming, you had the Vulture played by Michael Keaton. That could also be where they all team up and form the Sinister Six, and Tom Holland's Spider-Man from the MCU may have to find help, so to speak, to defeat this diabolical force of the Sinister Six. And if that's the case, it makes perfect narrative sense to bring in Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's iterations of those characters. And a lot of people think that Emma Stone could also return in this movie as Gwen Stacy. And I believe at the time of this filming, she was pregnant, but there are ways you can do this to where you can bring in Emma Stone. And if she's willing, you could spin her off into a live-action Spider-Gwen. That is what I would love to see. But if all these puzzle pieces come together, I think Spider-Man No Way Home could be one of the best, probably the best Spider-Man film we have ever seen on film. And I cannot wait for this. That movie is scheduled to come out in December of 2021. So I hope everybody else is excited about this as I am. We'll just have to wait and see where they go with this. But I like where the line of thinking is based on this interview with Alfred Molina, and I have all the faith in the world that the MCU is going to knock this out of the park. So, hey everybody, I hope you liked this video. Did you like what you saw here? If you did, I hope you will comment below. Let me know what you thought of whatever I discussed here today. Also, hit that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell on the channel as well, so you get all the notifications about when I put up new content. Also, you can find me, Eric Hopkins, at EricJel on Twitter. It's at ERICJEL, Gel with the J. Also, you can find me on the 3-Star Podcast. You can find us on Facebook at 3-Star Pod, and on Twitter at 3-Star Podcast 1. We discuss all sorts of things over there, from all sorts of topics like pro wrestling, video games, movies, sports, just whatever we feel like talking about. We always try to have a good time. Me and a group of guys over there, we enjoy doing our shows weekly, and usually we'll talk about just whatever comes to our head. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and until next time, take care.